Hello students, today we are going to start chapter number 13, Motion and Time of Standard 7, Science and CERT. Now by the term motion and time, we have already learned in 6th standard. Now what is the more meaning of motion? Motion means if an object moves, or if an object changes its place from one position to another position, then it is said to be in motion. Motion can be of different types. It can be a circular, it can be a rectilinear, or it can be a periodic, as we have seen in standard 6. That motion can be also considered as a fast motion or a slow motion. Now suppose rectilinear motion is there. If an object moves in a straight line, then that type of motion is said to be a rectilinear motion. For example, march past of a soldier, a vehicle running on a straight road. These are all the examples of rectilinear motion. Now let us see circular motion. If an object moves in a circular path, if it moves in a circular grid along its own axis, then that motion is said to be a circular. For example, merry-go-round. For example, blades of a fan. These are all the examples of circular motion. Now periodic motion. If an object repeats its motion after a definite interval of time, after a fixed time it repeats its motion, then that type of motion is said to be a periodic motion. For example, revolution of the earth, rotation of the earth. These are the examples of the periodic motions which we had seen in standard 6. Now we had also seen a fast motion and a slow motion. Fast motion with a particularly speed. If an object, if you want to compare any two objects, if you want to compare any two cars, suppose if that car, it starts at a particularly time and after some time it reaches at a particularly destination, the car which comes first, which reaches first, that will be considered as that the motion of that car is fast, whereas the other car, the motion will be slow. Fast motion. Then the different examples of the fast motions are butterfly. It has a fast motion. Then slow motion, walking of a snail, walking of earth moving. These are all the examples of slow motion. Now let us see what is the motion. The vehicle which covers the movement maximum distance in a definite time interval is called the most speedy vehicle. As I told you, if a car, if you want to compare any two cars, if it starts at a one point, original one point, and it reaches to a particularly destination, then the car which reaches at a earlier time, then that type of vehicle is said to be the most speedy vehicle. Then what is it is called as a speed. It will say that has a maximum speed. We can compare with the help of the speed. Now what is the meaning of the speed? Speed is the distance moved by an object in a unit time is called the speed. So particularly time, if an object moves a particularly distance in a particularly time, in a unit time, then that is called a speed. Now what is speed? It is total distance travelled upon total time taken. If you want to find out the speed, if two cars are there, if they are going at a particular distance, and if you want to find out the speed, whose speed is more, then we can apply this formula, that is total distance travelled upon total time taken to cover that distance. Now let us see the formula for speed is distance upon time, as we had seen earlier. That is an object moves in a particular distance in a particularly or in a unit time. Let us see one example. Car is moving with a speed of 50 km per hour. Now what does it mean? So it means that in 1 hour the car covers a distance of 50 km. Now let us see one example. If you want to compare which car has the speed maximum. So let us take two examples, car 1 and car 2. Now in 2 hours the car is traveling 100 km and car 2 in 2 hours the car is traveling 120 km. Now let us find out whose car has a maximum speed. Now we know the formula, that is distance upon time. So if the distance is 100 km and the time duration is 2 hours, so 100 upon 2, that is equal to 50 km per hour. So in 1 hour car 1 is traveling a distance of 50 km. Now let us see another one. Distance upon time. We can also convert it to meter per second. The other unit of speed is meter per second and so on. Now we have seen speed. Now let us see uniform motion and non-uniform motion. Now what is the meaning of uniform motion? If an object moves along the straight line, if the object is moving along a straight line with a constant speed means continuous speed. Whether the speed is not increasing nor decreasing, it is moving with a constant speed, then that type of motion is said to be uniform motion. If it is moves with the same speed, the speed neither increase nor decrease, a continuous speed is maintained, then that type of motion is said to be uniform motion. Now what is non-uniform motion? If the speed of an object moving along a straight line keeps changing, its motion is said to be non-uniform motion. Now, if an object is moving along a straight line, then and if its speed increases or decreases, it is not moving with a constant speed, then that type of motion is said to be a non-uniform motion. Uniform means with a continuous speed, or there is an vehicle, an object, whatever it is moving with a continuous speed, then that type of motion is said to be uniform motion. And if it is not moving with a continuous speed or constant speed, or its speed goes changing, then that type of motion is said to be non-uniform motion. Now let us see measurement of time. In ancient times, clocks were not there. So how our ancestors used to observe the time? How does they know? So with the help of the shadows, they used to see the time. With the help of the shadows, they can measure the time. Now if they want to calculate, how we can calculate a day, or how we can calculate a year, or how we can calculate a month, and there was no clock. So let us see. If they want to measure a day, so how they can measure the time between one sunrise to the next was called a day. So if one sunrise to the next sunrise, that was considered one day by our ancestors. Now let us see month. 1 month, the time interval of one new moon to the next new moon, that duration will be counted as 1 month. Then 1 year. So fixed time of the earth, but to complete one revolution. That means the earth completes one revolution. That is, it takes 365 days to move around the sun. Our earth revolves around the sun. That will be counted as a one revolution. That will be counted as a revolution. A fixed time, or we can say 365 days to complete one revolution. So it will be counted as a 1 year. So clocks and watches are used nowadays to see the time. To observe the time, we are using clocks and watches. But before, the clocks and watches were not there. The day, month and year was measured with the natural phenomena occurring in nature. Now let us see. Now we know that clocks and watches, they have a complex process, and it runs on the base of periodic motion. At a fixed interval of time, it repeats its motion. Now one of the well-known periodic motion is simple pendulum. With the help of simple pendulum also we can calculate the time. So let us see the construction and the working of the simple pendulum. Now let us see the construction of a simple pendulum. Now what is the simple pendulum? That simple pendulum, it consists of a small metallic ball or a piece of stone which is suspended from a rigid support. Now this is a rigid support, fixed support, and from here the string is given and the metallic ball, or you can tie a stone. Now this metallic ball is called the bob of the pendulum. Now this is called the bob of the pendulum. This is the metallic ball. This small bob is called a bob of the pendulum. Now suppose if it is at a fixed point, if it is not moving at all, and if I release this metallic ball a little bit, so it will start moving to and fro motion. It will go back and forth motion. So the to and fro motion of a simple pendulum is an example of oscillatory motion. So to and fro motion, that is called an oscillatory motion. Or for example, motion of a swing, it is also an example of oscillatory motion. That means it will come here, when it is released, it will move in the to position and fro position, back and forth motion. Then that type of oscillatory motion. Now, how it is completed one oscillatory motion? Suppose if I am releasing this bob from over here, so the pendulum is said to have completed one oscillation when its bob starts from its mean position. Now, this is its mean position. Mean position means it is at rest position. It is not moving at all. So, this is the mean position O, and it moves A. It will move to A. Then it will move to B, and again back to A. Then it is said to be completed one oscillatory motion. So when I am releasing from its mean position, now here A and B, this motion is said to be extreme position, and this one is mean position. So from the mean position, it moves to A, then it again moves to B, and again it comes to back O. Then it is said to have completed one oscillation. Or we can say, then other way we can say the pendulum also completes one oscillation when its bob moves from one extreme position A, this is an extreme position A, to the extreme position B, and again it will come to back A. Then also it is said to be have completed one oscillation in a given time period. So there are the two conditions if it has completed the one oscillation. First one, so from the mean position, if I release the metallic bob, if I release the bob, it will move to A, again it will move to B, and again it will be moved to O. Then it is said to be having completing one oscillation in a particularly time period. Or again, if it starts from 0, so it starts from O, it moves to this extreme position, that is A, again A to B, and again B to A. Then also it is said to be have completed one oscillation in a definite time period. Now, time taken by a pendulum to complete one oscillation is called its time period. So if it takes a complete one oscillation, that means from 0 to A to B, and again B to O. If it completes one oscillation at particularly time, then it is called its time period. So let us see one activity which is given, activity 13.2. You have to set up a simple pendulum with a thread of the string of the length nearly 1 meter. Suppose this is the length of a string of 1 meter, that is 100 centimeter. Now we have to mark the mean position on the bob of the floor or below or the wall behind it. Now let us see the time period. To see the time period, we need a stopwatch. Now just to set this pendulum in motion, gently hold, you have to hold the bob and just move it slightly to one side. So it will start moving. Make sure that the string attached to the bob is taut. While you displace it, the string should be taut in position. Remember, the bob is not to be pushed when it is released. So you should not have to push. You have to release this bob gently. So can it start it? Motion to and fro. Now let us measure the time taken by the pendulum to complete 20 oscillations. So you have to note down 20 oscillations and you can measure the time. So the formula, time taken for 20 oscillations in seconds. So time period is equal to total time for 20 oscillations upon 20. The length of the string is 100 centimeter, or you can say 1 meter. So if you place these values, so 42 upon 20, so it will be 2.1 second. So one oscillation it takes 2.1 second. And if suppose there are 20 oscillations, it takes 40 seconds to complete 20 oscillations, and if you calculate, you will get 2.0 second. Here the time period can be changed, but the length of the string is fixed. Now let us see units of time and speed. Now we know to measure the time. To see the time we are using the clocks. Clocks which works on the cells. That types of clocks are called quartz clocks. Now there are different units of time. The basic unit of time is second. The larger unit of time we can say as minutes and hours. Now if you want to find out the basic unit of speed, so the formula of the speed we know. Distance upon time. So we know the unit of distance is either kilometer or meter, and the unit of time is either second, minutes or hours. So the basic unit of speed will be meter per second, or we can say meter per minute or kilometer per hour. if I speak 2001, so it hardly takes 1 second. It does not take a longer time. So it depends. Different units of time are used depending upon the need where we are using. Now, before the pendulum was invented, time measuring devices were there. So that time measuring devices were like sand clock, which works on the sand, water clocks, and the sundials. They were used in the different parts of the world before the pendulum was invented. Now, second, the smaller unit of basic unit of time is second. Other smaller units are, if you want to see the smallest time interval that can be measured with commonly available clocks and watches is 1 second. So normal time clocks and watches they use second. Now there are also special clocks which has a time interval smaller than the second. So if some clocks can measure time intervals even as 1 million or even 1 billionth of a second. So if we have seen we have heard about microsecond and also nanosecond. So 1 microsecond is equal to 1 billionth of a second, and 1 nanosecond will be equal to 1 billionth of a second. So these clocks that measures small such time intervals are mostly used for scientific research or they are used in the sports. So these are the different units of times and speed. Now let us see measuring speed. How to measure the speed? Now let us see the one activity. First we have to draw a straight line on the ground with the chalk powder or a line and ask one of your friends to stand 1 to 2 meters away from it. Let your friend gently roll a ball along the ground in one direction perpendicular to the line. Note the time at the moment the ball crosses the line and also when it comes to rest. How much time does the ball takes to come rest? Suppose this is one line given, chalk powder, and tell your friend to roll the ball. So that ball will roll and it will stop at a particularly time. So you have to note down the time. So anyone you have to measure the distance. So if we got the time and if we can see the distance, we can calculate the speed of the ball. At how much time the ball is crossing the line. So here time is taken to that ball to come its rest position. That will be the time. With the help of the watch, we can see the time, and with the help of the scale, we can see the distance. How much distance that ball has been traveled. So from this, we can find out the speed of that particularly ball. So you can now like to compare the speed of walking or cycling with that of the friend. So this way also you can compare. Suppose you and your friends are walking or either cycling. So you can compare the speed if you have two factors, that is distance and time. How much distance you have covered and how much time you have taken. So you can find out the speed of that particularly vehicle or that particularly organism. Now suppose if you want to find out the distance, that how much distance that particularly an object has covered, and if you have the speed, that how much speed that object has taken and how much time it has taken, then you can find out the how much distance it has been covered. So we can apply this formula, speed multiplied by time. And if distance and speed is given, if you have the distance, how much distance that particularly object has traveled or how much speed it has covered to cover that particular distance, you can find out the time also, that how much time is required to complete that particularly object, how much time. So time taken is equal to distance upon speed. Now we have seen in vehicles, different vehicles which we are using. So dashboards are there. In that dashboards the readings are given. So one reading is speedometer. So what is speedometer? To measure the speed of that vehicle. So how much speed it has, how much that vehicle is moving with that particularly speed. So that is called speedometer. So to measure the speed. And odometer. Other odometer is there to distance moved by that vehicle. So from this we can find out the time, how much time it has been taken in 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So there are the two readings in the vehicles. In particularly vehicles, there are the readings given. One is the speedometer and one is odometer. So speedometer is used to measure the speed, and the other one is odometer, which is how much distance that vehicle has been covered. And the last one is at 10 o'clock. It had reached the picnic spot. So it is 3, 6, 620 and the distance is 80 kilometer in its odometer reading. Now can you tell how far was the picnic spot from the school? So from looking this graph, this table, we can say how much far. It was 80 kilometers from the school to the picnic point. The distance was 80 kilometers. Now here can we calculate the speed of the bus? So we can calculate the speed of the bus. That is, speed of the bus will be distance upon time. So from 8 to 10, that is, it will be 2 hours. And how much kilometer is there? It has covered 80 kilometers. So in 1 hour, it has covered 40 kilometers per hour. So this is the speed of the bus. So in 1 hour, the bus has covered 40 kilometers. Now, one of his friends, that is Bojo, he is asking that whether how far they would have traveled till 9:45 am. Now here is 9:30, 9 to 9:30. Then 9:30 to 10 o'clock. So when the bus is at 9:45, so how much they had covered a distance. So for this we have to plot a graph. So this from we can draw this graph with the help of distance time graph. Now we have seen different types of graph. First type of graph is bar graph. One example is here. If you want to compare the runs and overs, in how much overs the runs are there. So with the help of bar graph, we have seen different types of graphs in the magazines, newspaper, pie chart, line graph. So bar graph, for example, one of the, if you want to see in how many overs, how much runs we can take, so we can use a bar graph. Or how much percentage of a child, if you want to compare 2-3 students in one class, so we can compare how much percentage or how much marks they had obtained in different subjects, we can use bar graph. Then the next one is pie chart. So in the textbook, pie chart is given, a pie chart showing the composition of air. How much composition of air is there, or how much fruits or how much percentage of fruits are liked by the different students, or how much different games are offered by the different students, we can draw with the help of a pie chart. Another one is a line graph. So here one example is given. A line graph shows the changes in the weight of a man with the age. As the age is increasing, how much weight is increasing of that particularly man. So we can see with the help of line graphs. So these are the different 3 graphs. Now here we will see how to plot a graph. So we need a graph paper. So first of all, we have to take a sheet of graph paper. We have to draw 2 lines perpendicular to each other. So one line is here and one line is over here. Horizontal and vertical lines, it should be perpendicular to each other. Then mark the horizontal line as X, O, X dash. So this is the horizontal line. We are marking it as X, O, X dash. Similarly, mark the vertical line Y, O, Y dash. So this vertical line will be Y, O, Y dash. This is called a Y axis and this is called X axis. And this is called Y axis. The point of intersection of X, O, X dash and Y, O, Y dash is stated to be origin. This is said to be origin. The 2 quantities between which the graph is drawn are shown along this 2 axes. So whatever the quantities we require, here 2 quantities. So it is drawn along this axis. Similarly, we show the positive values on the x-axis along OX. Now here we have done the positive values. All the positive values will be written on OX. Similarly, positive values on the y-axis are shown along OY. All the positive values over here will be shown on the y-axis. Here we consider only this portion on the graph paper. So here we can, with the help of the graph paper, we can plot different types of distance time graph. Now let us draw the line graph, distance time graph. We will here use the line graph. Now one example is given. Ujjwal Pahel found out the distance traveled by a car and the time taken by it to cover the distance. A car is traveling. So here we have found out the time taken to cover that distance. So let us see the data first. At 0 time it is traveling at a 0 kilometer. At 1 minute, here we have taken 1 minute. 1 minute, 1 kilometer. 2 minutes, 2 kilometer. 3 minutes, 3 kilometer. 4 minutes, 4 kilometer. 5 minutes, 5 kilometer. Now let us see the graph. Let us see the steps first. First of all, you can make the graph by using the following steps. Draw two perpendicular lines to represent the two axes and mark them as OX and OY. So let us draw the graph. when compared to the data presented by the table. Suppose a table is given and the graph is given. So look, as compared to table and the graph is more convenient. By looking at the graph, we can easily find out which car, which vehicle or whatever the object has covered. But table, it will be a little bit difficult. But with the help of graph, it is easy to compare a particularly data. Now let us see one of the graph which was taken by the Paheli and Bujo during the picnic. So they had taken the readings which is already given in the table. So we will draw a line graph for it and we will see at what time it is been reaching. Now we had drawn x-axis and y-axis. So the journey has been started from O at 8 o'clock. It was at 0 kilometer. Then it has taken 8:30. Then 9 o'clock. Then 9:30. And then 10 o'clock. Here we have taken time on x-axis in EM. The scale where we are using is a distance of 10. 1 centimeter is equal to 10. Now time we will see that we will add on the distance over here on the y-axis, that is in kilometers. Here 0, then 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 and 80 kilometers. Now let us plot the graph. So we know that at 0 kilometer the object was on the 8 o'clock, it was at 0 kilometer. Here. Then at 8:30 it was 20 kilometers. So what we will do from here, we will plot like this way and here. So at 8:30 it was 20 kilometers. Then at 9 o'clock it was 40 kilometers. Over here. Then 9:30 it was at 60 kilometers. And at 10 o'clock it was at covered a distance of 80 kilometers. Now let us join all these points. Now let us see. We had told about at 9:45 where will be the bus has reached. So here is 9:30 and here is 10 o'clock. So here will be between 9:30 and 10 o'clock where will be your 9:45. So if you plot this graph like this way, so the bus has reached 70 kilometers. So with the help of the graph, we can find out the different timing intervals. So here at 9:45, the bus may have reached at a distance of 70 kilometers. So here, this way we can draw a line graph. So here you